Welcome to Reddit After Hours. This is r/Am I the Butthole, where OP unloads on her mom after she gets iced out of her own brother's engagement party and wonders if she's the butthole for it. Our first Reddit post comes from Juggernaut Slow 4213, titled, "Am I the butthole for skipping my brother's wedding because I wasn't invited to the engagement party?" I, a 28-year-old male, have a twin brother. Growing up, we were inseparable, and until recently, I thought we were still very close. I was always more of a shy nerd, and he was an extrovert that played sports throughout our childhood and high school, but we spent almost all of our time together by choice. We went our separate ways when college came. He stayed local in Arizona, and I went to college in Portland. When I graduated, I stayed there because I fell in love with the city. My friends are here. My professional networks from internships were here, etc. But I always flew back home for holidays, events, birthdays, etc. My brother announced on Instagram that he and his girlfriend of 3 years got engaged. I was incredibly happy for him and texted him congrats. He mentioned that they were planning to have an engagement party in 6 to 8 weeks, and I told him to let me know so I can book a flight to come celebrate. I was never told a date. If I brought it up with him or anyone in the family, they would change the subject or say that it's still being planned and confirmed. After a few weeks, I texted my brother to ask the date because it must be getting close and I don't want to pay for a last-minute flight, and I got no response. I asked my mom for details and she said, well, it's not really an engagement party, just a small dinner with family. There's no need to come down for it. I eventually found out that it was, in fact, a big party. They rented out an entire restaurant for 4 hours, and there were about 80 guests. Family, friends, cousins, everyone. Everyone was told that I couldn't make it. My aunt, who was like a second mother to me, texted me that she was very disappointed that I couldn't make time to join, and I replied that I would have happily come, but I was not invited. Word spread quickly about my snub, and my parents and brother tried to say that it was just a misunderstanding. That was over a year ago, and since then, I've tried to get to the bottom of why I wasn't invited. Over the course of months, it went from it was just meant to be a small gathering to I don't know what happened, there must have been a miscommunication, to it's just a party, it's no big deal. I asked my brother if he was mad at me. I thought maybe his fiance didn't like me. Even if she or he didn't want me there, why were my parents okay with this? This really wasn't like them. Christmas and Easter was awkward as hell because no one but me wanted to address the elephant in the room, and any conversation about anything was like small talk with strangers. When I visited in May for my sister's birthday, I left early after my sister said, "You moved so far away. It's like you're not family anymore. You make everything feel so weird now." That was 9 months ago. And 9 months ago, I got the save the date announcement, and 6 months ago, I got the invitation to the wedding. I wasn't asked to be in the wedding party, which is fine and wasn't surprising at this point. My sister and younger brother were asked to be in the wedding party, so another snub. I also didn't get a +1 for my girlfriend that I've been seeing for almost a year and a half. My sister, however, got a +1 for her friend with benefits. So I decided that I wasn't welcome and I was probably only invited for optics and to play happy family. I didn't RSVP since I knew that would cause a shit show, so I just didn't go. The wedding was this past weekend. No one contacted me about missing the rehearsal dinner, so I guess even if I did go, I wasn't invited to that either or expected to be there. I started getting calls and texts about an hour before the ceremony asking where I was, if my flight was delayed, how far along I'll be, etc., and I ignored them. They stopped for a while during the ceremony, but started up again right after. I finally picked up my mom's call and she screamed, "Where the hell are you?" I replied, in Portland, where you all prefer me to be. She said, this is your brother's wedding. How could you embarrass us? I answered, it's just a party. It's no big deal, right? It was probably the first time in my life that my mother was speechless. After a few seconds of silence, I said, tell everyone I said hi, and I hung up. Now I'm getting calls and texts from everyone saying that I was being petty and ruined the day. So am I the butthole here? I feel like I'm just matching their energy and dropping the rope. I don't think you're a butthole at all, OP. I'm happy that you actually stood up for yourself in this situation. I mean, they treated you like a complete afterthought, like you weren't part of the family, so you didn't go somewhere that you didn't feel welcome. I would have done the exact same thing. Our next Reddit post comes from OKBeat3158, titled, am I the butthole for saying I told you so when my boyfriend got beat up by my ex? I ended things with my ex a year ago and have been dating my boyfriend for 6 months. My ex during this time has refused to move on and basically has repeatedly sent me flirty texts until I blocked him, as well as hitting on me in person blatantly in front of my boyfriend too. I've told him multiple times that I am not interested and that I love my new boyfriend, but he has persisted. This has led to my boyfriend wanting to fight him for, quote, disrespecting you and I and our relationship. I always told him that this wasn't a good idea because violence isn't the answer, but the real reason is half that and also half because I know my ex would beat him in a fight. My ex trains in the gym a lot and also does multiple martial arts, whereas my boyfriend isn't really into fitness and is very skinny. He finally told me last week that he is going to fight my ex at a party that they'll both be at Saturday, this past Saturday. I begged him not to and told him bluntly that he will lose and make himself look bad. He responded saying that he's a lot bigger than my ex. He's quite tall and my ex is average height, so he'll be fine. I repeatedly warned him, but he brushed it off. Lo and behold, exactly what I said happened, and he ended up losing, although he wasn't hurt too badly aside from his ego. He came to me upset and expected sympathy, but I just felt irritated and said that I had told him exactly that this would happen, and he chose not to listen. He's angry at me for being unsupportive, but I feel like I tried to warn him. Am I the butthole? So I don't want to sandbag on him too much because it sounds like from the comments that these guys are actually high schoolers. But yeah, very immature, and I hope he learned a valuable lesson in that. Although it's good to stand up for yourself. You can stand up for yourself without the need for violence. And picking and choosing your battles in life is it's a very good learned skill. However, I don't think that you're totally a butthole for that. I mean, yeah, you're kind of rubbing salt in the wound a little bit, but I mean, you warned him and he decided to make his own decision, so now he has to live with those consequences. Our next Reddit post comes from Sui Lu Mom, titled, am I the butthole for saying that I owe my ex's wife nothing and being quietly glad that my kids don't consider her their second mom? My marriage to my ex ended during my pregnancy with our son, who is now 8. We divorced formally when he was 2 months old, but we separated at the very beginning of the pregnancy and co-parented our daughter, who is now 10, throughout that time. And as difficult as it was, after the divorce was over, things turned more sour and we avoided each other except for exchanges. 2.5 years after our divorce was finalized, he introduced me to his then girlfriend, now wife, at a custody exchange. At first, she seemed nice enough, and I had no problem with her. I even thought she was nicer than him. But something I didn't know at the time was she took offense to me handing the kids to my ex instead of offering her one or both of them. I found this out 2 months later when our daughter's preschool had their play, and she accused me of hogging my son throughout the performance and not giving her the chance to hold him. What? Then she brought up the exchange. She told me that she was going to be their mommy too, and that I needed to get over my selfish hogging of our children. And by our, she meant hers, mine, and my ex's. Wow. My ex stood back and said nothing. I told her that I wasn't hogging anyone, and at the exchange, I did what I always do when the kids go to their dad. She told me that I just didn't want to accept that soon enough I'll be number 2 mom, and maybe they'd eventually call me by my first name and she'd be mom. Wow. After that, she was tense whenever we attended the same event, and the kids weren't exactly happy to see her. Something my ex said was all my fault because I didn't offer to let her hold our son, etc. Then she reported me to CPS with several false allegations of abuse. Her claims were wild, and CPS cleared me of all wrongdoing. They said the report was anonymous, but then my ex's girlfriend told me it was disgusting that anyone could clear me and that she knew better, and she said that she'd prove that I didn't deserve my kids. Following on from that, they booked their wedding on my custody time, and when it was, I had plans for us prearranged. I refused to cancel and told them to blame my ex since he had the schedule and calendar same as me. We always had a shared one through an app that told us whose week it was and what plans that couldn't be changed were. My commitment was first. They kept the date and got married without the kids there, which I was hated for. His wife has been vile to me ever since. She makes disgusting comments about my appearance and has called me a prostitute many times. She tried to turn my ex's family against me, and when it didn't work, she tried to accuse me of parental alienation of the children. For years, I have heard that the kids aren't as bonded with her as ex would expect, or as they want the kids to be, and they only want me. My ex tried to get more custody as a result, and the judge told him there was no cause for an increase from 50-50 custody, which we had from the beginning. My ex brought up the conversation again last month when we had an IEP meeting for our son. He told me that his wife has been around the kids since they were very young and she should be second mom to them, but they always correct him or her when they call her that, and they said that she's not to others who call her their mom too. He told me that I could be kinder to her and help with that. He said that as a mom, it's my job to make sure that all of the kids' parents are respected and loved and treated well. And he told me that she takes good care of our kids, so I owe her some help with this. I told him I owe her nothing, and to go back to those CPS allegations and realize that I will never owe her or like her. Then, via the app just a couple of weeks ago, my ex said he feels like I'm glad our kids don't call her mom or consider her their second mom. He told me that I'm just being petty and a butthole when I could be thinking of our kids' best interest, and that saying I owe his wife nothing is a bad attitude to hold as well. I won't lie, I am crazy happy that the kids aren't super into this woman. I have never discouraged it, and I will always keep them out of drama to the best that I can. And by that, I mean I can't influence what they see or hear at their dad's house, but I am quietly super happy. The ex isn't wrong about how I feel, though. Am I the butthole for saying that I owe his wife nothing and for being glad that my kids don't consider her their second mom? That woman is absolutely delusional, and making false allegations to CPS about you is like crossing a line that is just so far overboard. Your ex is lucky that you didn't fight for permanent and total custody after that, because that is just absolutely insane. I think you posted this knowing that you're not the butthole, maybe just to vent, but yeah, definitely not the butthole, and wow. Just wow. I am speechless. That was Reddit After Hours, bringing you r/Am I the Butthole. Thank you all so much for listening, and if you like these videos, like and subscribe for more Reddit content.